Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, EM broke my $55,000 wheelchair. You won't give me a key to your house? That's fine, I'll make one for myself. My mom is wealthy but won't help me with anything. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. EM broke my $55,000 wheelchair. Dear entitled mother, thank you so very much for your complete and utter lack of patience when getting on the bus, which resulted in breaking part of my $55,000 wheelchair and me needing to call the police for help. So I was on the bus tonight heading to a workshop that I was fairly excited for. Things were great until slightly before my stop when two adults got on, one with a toddler and the other wheeling a stroller. It is strict corporate policy that all strollers must be folded before being brought onto the bus, but not enough drivers actually enforce it, and this was one of those monster Cadillac strollers to boot. EM brought her unfolded stroller on the bus and, seeing the front entirely occupied by disabled people, including myself, decided to push past toward the back. Only, her behemoth of a stroller wouldn't fit in the space available and she started ramming it along my wheelchair to plow it through. Me, hey! Watch it! EM keeps trying to squeeze through. Me, careful! I can feel you tugging at stuff. EM doesn't stop. Finally, she managed to push through and moved back. I fumed for the next few blocks, pushed the button for my stop, turned on my wheelchair, and got a left brake disconnected error. I tried again. Repeated errors. Me, phew. The next several minutes were spent with the bus pulled over, passengers getting mad at me for causing a delay, while I panicked trying to figure out how to get off the bus. Finally, a guy flipped my electric/freewheel release switch on and off several times, and that managed to convince my chair to work for me to get off my bus and get about 15 feet away before my chair suddenly turned itself off. I turned it back on. It started throwing up a charger inhibit error, which basically is the error you get when you try to start moving when you're still plugged into the wall outlet. The next hour was a progression of events that saw me sitting on the ground with the back of my chair opened up as I went through everything trying to figure out what was going on. I even called the police because I wasn't sure how I'd be able to get home. My wheelchair repair company doesn't have after-hours service. In the end, I discovered that two different things had gotten disconnected, and when I fixed them, my chair started up just fine. The lovely officer helped me get the cover back on my chair and, more importantly, helped me get safely back into my chair. I said F***ck it, skipped the workshop, went home, showered the icky sidewalk off of me, and had a couple of beers. None of this would have happened if that entitled mother had just taken 1 second to fold her stroller up. Or, I dunno, stopped when I repeatedly asked her to. But no, she was far too important to do such basic shit like that. And yes, my wheelchair is actually $55,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but given that according to order form I just looked at, the joystick cover alone is $85, it doesn't surprise me at all. It has 3 different tilt/adjustment settings that drives the cost up enormously. I love shouting at people who drive too close to me that my wheelchair costs more than their car. Your chair costs more than a Tesla. Yes, unfortunately disability is big business. My friend is an ambulatory wheelchair user. She uses crutches sometimes to walk very short distances and to stand, and there is so much stuff available that would make so many things in her life easier or just possible, but it's all super expensive, and because we're poor, there's not much we can do. She can't even afford clips to attach the crutches to the wheelchair, let alone a battery pack for the chair that would mean I don't have to push her everywhere. I'm so sorry, that turned into a rant. It's maddening to see her living a fraction of the life she could have because of money. Wow, I didn't know people could be so stupid and impatient. Did you get the police do any investigation to find the EM? Plus, why was everyone not stopping the EM? It honestly hurt me to know some people care for themselves. I'm sorry you went through all of this, OP. I'd BTDT with panic over mobility aids. The weirdest was when a hospital demanded my mother leave my forearm crutches with me while I was taken for surgery. She's always held my brother's wheelchairs and leg braces and my crutches and canes during such things, but this particular bitch of a nurse was adamant they be left with me. Yeah, no surprise, they lost said crutches, my custom, purple, ergo forearm crutches. When the item was described to the charge nurse, I thought she was going to kill my nurse for losing them, but they were finally found. People, including some medical personnel, sadly enough, can utterly lack comprehension on just how critical such things are. Oh geez, was this on a PAT bus? Some of those drivers are awful, the way they treat the disabled, and don't get me started on the entitled-ass passengers. Try to sue her. There should be video footage in the bus, and people mistreating disabled persons is disgusting. She should suffer the consequences. My sister is an amputee and she was in a wheelchair for a year because her stump wasn't having it with any of her good legs, and I had to shout multiple times at a Karen in the store, and she had the nerve to say that disabled people shouldn't be allowed to exist. It took my mom, my dad, and a store employee to hold me back from killing this son of a gun. You won't give me a key to your house? That's fine, I'll make one for myself. Sorry in advance, I know this is a long one. This is actually an entitled grandparent story, but this lady has been involved in my upbringing since I was a child. And this woman hates me. To give some background, my grandmother is a hardcore Catholic former nun and was extremely strict with my dad and with me. My dad got his 17-year-old girlfriend drunk and pregnant, which is obviously a huge no-no in the Catholic Church. My grandma basically pressured my mom to convert to Catholicism and marry my dad, and later they had 2 more kids. But because I was born out of wedlock, I am the black sheep, and not just by my grandma. My entire dad's side will never be happy with me, and they hate me and my mom. For reference, I'm 24 and my sisters are 22 and 20. The youngest just moved out with her partner, but neither have jobs, and the middle one and her fiancé are extremely financially irresponsible and live with my parents and just expect to have everything handed over to them. I'm out of the house with a professional job, married, and have a child, and have been doing really good for myself, and I'm the disappointment. My grandma was extremely strict and abusive, specifically to me. She's yelled at me multiple times, calling me the child of the devil, a demon, etc., has thrown stuff at my face for no reason, and I wasn't allowed to have any privacy at her house. I always had to have the bedroom door open. She would sit at the foot of my bed until I fell asleep. I had to spend every weekend and break from school with her until I started working at 15, and she would scream at me if I locked the bathroom door. You get the idea. She would also threaten to call the cops if we didn't comply with her, and there were multiple instances where she would call the cops if we didn't answer our phones. Like, she's called at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. on separate occasions, and I have woken up to cops knocking at my door. And yes, this has happened when I'm at home and out of town, where I didn't even tell her where I was staying. She's psycho. So on with the story. I actually just found out the other day that she did this, so that's why I'm sharing this now. Anyway, when I was 20, I decided to move out with a couple friends. My grandma demanded that I give her a key to the duplex. I refused for multiple reasons. In the first place, I don't need my grandma being able to come over whenever she wants, especially since one of my roommates was my boyfriend. In the second place, we threw a lot of get-togethers, and I don't need her lecturing my friends that Dungeons and Dragons and anime and all that are tools of the devil, and we need to all go to church with her. And in the third place, we had all agreed to not give out copies of our keys to any family members, and I'm not about to have my friends' privacy invaded as well, because my grandma just can't handle not having control of every little part of my life. I mean, she still called multiple times every day and found excuses to try to come over as much as possible. And every time for the first couple months she kept demanding I give her a key to our place, and I kept refusing. Well, at one point my youngest sister was spending the night and my grandma dropped her off. We were gonna go do some shopping, but I couldn't find my keys. I'm looking everywhere and I can't find them anywhere. So my grandma offered to pick up what I needed to make dinner. I reluctantly agreed and went back to looking for my keys. They somehow were right on the bar. I didn't think much of it at the time because I do stuff like that all the time, but my sister told me the full story. Apparently, the next day when my grandma picked her up, she bragged to her how she stole my keys when I wasn't looking and made herself a copy of the key so she can go inside whenever she wanted. Now she's never barged in while I'm home, so I'm guessing she was coming in when no one was home and going through everything. And it's justified, because she's just making sure we were making good Catholic choices. It also wouldn't be the first time she's gone through my stuff when I'm not home, because she would do the same thing to me at my parents' house and then berate me if she found things she didn't like. Apparently she has been trying to steal my keys for this house too, but she hasn't been able to figure out where I keep my keys. I keep my keys in our bedroom in the far back of the house and will not have my keys around her now for this exact reason. Bro, this is literally illegal. Tell her to give back any copies she has and think about involving the landlord and/or police. I'm sure she got rid of it after we moved. This was about 2 to 4 years ago. Is this grounds for a restraining order? Feels like it should be. I never looked into it. But she got rid of the key now that I live somewhere else, so I don't really have any proof that she did it, and I've been told it's super hard to get retraining orders. Perhaps you can put a hook up by the door and hang a few old keys you don't use anymore on it. Then get a Ring doorbell. Let her steal the keys one day and make copies. Then when she tries to open the door, you can take the video off the Ring and use it to keep her in line. Tell her you'll send the video to the police of her trying to break into your home if she ever tries to get into your house again. Wow. Insane is right. Good call at keeping your keys stashed, but why is she even allowed in your home anyway? But isn't super hypocritical to lash out at you for being born out of wedlock when that isn't something you had control over, while she clearly abandoned the vows she took when she was a nun? I thought becoming a nun meant a lifelong commitment to the church and celibacy? I vaguely remember a similar situation, but that person either gave keys to their own annoying parents' home or to some random building. Honestly, I personally would just go to a locksmith and ask them for random dead keys to put on a large chain and leave them out for her to attempt to take or something. Dead keys are usually a key with one of the pinpoints cut out, so they are useless regardless of lock. My mom is wealthy but won't help me with anything. I'm F19, almost 20, and I've been working since I was 16 to save up for a car. I haven't been working since April because I enrolled into school. The reason why I'm posting this is because I don't have a car and my parents don't at least try to help me. My father is out of the picture and my mom's current husband is sort of like a piece of furniture. He's always present in the room but doesn't really do much. He's sort of always in her shadow, if that makes sense. He's also 60 plus, retired and very old school. He believes once a child turns 18 they should move out and somehow support themselves. Because in his day it was just that simple. It isn't the 70s anymore. I graduated early and at the top of my class at 16, but couldn't go to college because my mom refused to fill out the forms due to privacy reasons. She then refused to help me pay for college after declining all my scholarship money. I had referrals and a 4.0 GPA, but that went out the window, so I've been struggling to find a career that fits me and just been working crappy jobs. I made the jump and started real estate school a few months ago and used some of my only savings that I have to pay for it. I just can't stress enough I'll be 20 and I have no vehicle and career. I feel like a failure. All my jobs I had since high school, I worked 35 to 45 hours and overtime making minimum wage. I also went to all year-round school, so I had no summer breaks like all my friends. My friends' parents weren't as wealthy as mine, yet somehow their parents helped them with vehicles. I always felt like an outcast because of that. My mom promised me a car at 16 when I finished school, and that never happened. I also believe her husband convinced her not to, even though I was a straight-A student. In honors classes and student council. I never missed a day of class. Never got in trouble. It's sad I'll never know why she changed her mind. My mom makes over 400K annually but refuses to help me with a vehicle because she doesn't have the money or you need to buy one yourself. She switches the reason every time. She's bought herself 2 brand new cars, Jeep Wrangler Unlimited $80,000 and a Mercedes C-Class $60,000, $40,000 veneers, and a lake house, don't even know the price, upstate that we don't even go to, all in the past 3 years. I don't want anything new or fancy and she knows that, just something to help me get me from point A to point B. I have savings, but it's just not enough. She is established in her career, it's her money she worked for, yes, but I'm her daughter. I just want some help right now. It wouldn't hurt her after everything she spends. She was gifted a car by her parents when she was even younger than me but says I sound like a brat for asking her for a little help. I just don't understand how a wealthy person could not help their only kid just a tad. Do I sound entitled/spoiled or is she being selfish? Should I just use my current savings and lease a vehicle? She hasn't really explained to me how to do these kinds of things, unfortunately. I have nobody to ask for help or guidance. You can go to the college and tell them your mom refuses to fill out the forms, they can help you work around it. Do you have a friend you can move in with? I don't, unfortunately. I wouldn't even be able to help with rent because I'm not working and in school. This whole situation sucks. I feel like a loser and should already have my life together, but I don't. It honestly sounds like your mom is insufferable. Not wanting to fund college is one thing, albeit a shitty one, but declining scholarships is another thing altogether. That alone indicates that she is setting you up for failure. Does she owe a car? No. But she promised one anyway, then decided to go back on that promise for whatever reason, or she made a promise that she had no intention of keeping. Start planning to cut her out of your life. She has indicated through action that she cannot be relied on. Once you get your car, start saving to get a place on your own and get yourself set up in your career. Given that nothing you can say or do will get her to see reason, consider ghosting her when you are ready to make your move. Right? My mother wished she could have afforded to get me an education. A lot of parents want to see their kids win. Opie, your mom is trash. Someday you might be married and have kids. Someday your mom might want to spend time with her grandkids. Someday your mom might need your help to stay out of a nursing home. She needs to understand that her current behavior will have a very direct impact on your behavior in the future. I don't care so much about the car. A parent doesn't owe their children cars. But what your mother did to sabotage you applying to college and refusing to allow you scholarship money is pure evil. Try to move out and cut off all contact. She's trying to control you and it's worked. Don't let her continue. Find a cheap room for rent near your job or stay with friends. Maybe your friend's parents can help you apply to college, or you can do it yourself. Is there a community college you can start at? There are counselors and financial aid people there that can help. If your mother refused to let you apply to college because she didn't want to divulge personal information, then maybe your mother has something to hide. Maybe you can find what it is. That info might prove to be valuable to you. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.